Okay, welcome back. I think I ought to start off this time by letting you know that there's these two labels that I created, and you might have noticed in the last video that the text disappeared. I set the properties right here of the text field to the empty string, and if I would have had some text here, it would have shown up, and that's why it disappeared for both of these two labels right here, why they don't show up when I run my program. If you want to do that with yours right now, I just select the label itself, scroll down to, in the properties window, scroll down to the text field and set that to null, or to empty, spacebar or whatever. That way it doesn't show up and nothing shows up until they actually have an answer to submit. Anyway, back to the program. You're going to go to forms.cs, and this time what we're going to implement is the other math operators. Right now we only have addition set up, so we're going to set up subtraction next. So back in here, I'm going to add another case 1, and put my colon there, and I can almost directly copy and paste this. For right now though, I want to show you guys a neat little feature of Visual Studios. When you're highlighting stuff, if you hold down the Alt key, you can highlight blocks of code like this. Alt and Shift together, and boy, I didn't want it to delete it, I wanted to copy it. And then I can copy and paste, and that can be useful when you have a lot of stuff on one side and a lot of stuff on the other side, and you only want to copy part of it, paste part of it. Very, very useful. But anyway, all I have to do here is change that to a negative sign right there, and I'm going to tell the user that it's a subtraction problem instead of an addition problem. And now we should be able to, for testing purposes, I'm going to hard code this to 1 now, and now the user should get subtraction problems instead of addition problems. I'll go ahead and compile it and run it. And a keyboard shortcut for doing that is the F5 key. You can also click the start button up here like I did. And it's building the project right now, going through it. Shouldn't have any errors or anything. Guess I just got to give it a second. Okay, looks like the program's coming. Just need to be a little patient. Slow computer. Alright, there he goes. It looks like it's popping up now. Okay, so now as we see, I've got subtraction problems instead of addition problems like I had in the previous video. 1 minus 9 is -8. Looks like it's going to give me the same one again, -8, except my sign is 0, 5 minus 2, 3, 6 minus 1 is 5, so on and so forth. If I enter some bad input, my answer is cat, or check my answer, I should get it wrong. Looks like that's working correctly. Okay. So much for subtraction. Little note, oftentimes when building a program, a large portion of your time is spent in that debugging and testing phase. Let's go ahead and just copy this again, and we'll paste it again, and we'll have case 2, colon. Now, if I'm not mistaken, now I need to change my signs again, and hard code this to 2 instead of 1, And now I should be getting my multiplication problems. And now it's 4 times 3, that's 12. 5 times 2 is 10. 2 times 4 is 8. That looks good. So that multiplication is now working correctly. And division is going to be slightly different. With a division problem, in order to do this nicely, what we really need to do is I'm going to say the answer this time, instead of A divided by B, I'm just going to say my answer is A. And then my label here, I'm going to say that instead of A2 string, I'm going to say A times B 2 string. And the compiler sees this as a variable. It's an int, so I can use the .2 string because this produces an int, and it's a very convenient syntax for that. And I'll just change my division right here, and now the answer is A. Now, there is a case right here where I might have a problem. What if B is 0? We learn in math that thou shalt not divide by 0. It's one of the fundamental laws of mathematics, unless you're in calculus, then you divide by 0 all the time. But for an elementary school kid, division by 0 is undefined. We didn't give any parameters as about how to divide by 0. Not dealing with limits or anything. We're dealing with just regular algebra. We don't have any information, just that there was a 0 that we're trying to divide by. We really can't be doing that. So, but in our integer right here, because we're being generic up here, we can get a 0. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw another if clause. If b equals 0, then I'm going to say b is equal to random.next, and this time I want my minimum value to be 1 and my max value to be 11 again. This way it guarantees that b is not going to be 0. And we've got a syntax error right here. This case statement, it's got a squiggly red line on there. That is because we're going from this block of code and there's no break statement to break this up, and we're trying to fall over into this default. And Visual Studios has a big problem with that. If we were to say case so what we're going to do is we're going to put a break statement right here. That gets rid of that error. We can, however, if there's no code, we can say case 3 and then case 4 and case 5. Now the compiler has no problems with that because it's treating all of these the exact same. There's no extra code. Case 3, 4, and 5, it's going to do this stuff in this block of code right here. But if we were to have any kind of code right here, then all of a sudden we get our squiggly line, and it doesn't really matter what this code is. It gives us a fit because we're trying to execute a code and then fall over, and the compiler doesn't like that. Well, we only have to worry about these 4 cases, case 0, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to head and get rid of those extra cases. And now our division problem should work correctly. Oops, I did not hard code my math operator to be division. So we're still getting multiplication. Let's try that again. So now we got 10 divided by 1, that's 10. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 50 divided by 10 is 5. 20 divided by 5, missed my sign, and I thought it was subtraction, and I put 15. Still get wrong. Okay, so it looks like that is working the way we want it to. It looks good. Now what we want is this math operator right here to be a random number. So again, we're going to put random dot next. Now if you remember correctly, putting 4 right here yields the numbers 0, 1, 2, and 3. It never actually hits 4. We have 0, 1, 2, and 3 cases, so we want our 4 right here instead of a 3. That gives us 4 possible values, which is what our case statements give. Now we should be randomly getting a different type of problem each time. So I get a subtraction problem, I get a division problem, I get an addition problem, another subtraction, division, addition, subtraction, division, division, subtraction, multiplication. Okay, I'm getting all 4 states. That looks good. So now we have our finished product, and it looks like it's working properly. And join us next time for the next video. Thanks for watching.